Check, check. Test mic 1, 2, 3. Isang magandang umaga. Good morning po. Yes, check, check. Sound check. 1, 2, 3. Good morning mga ka-Newsstream. Waiting po tayong mag-live sa telebisyon. Yes, welcome. Welcome po sa ating CLTV 36 Newsstream. Nagbabalik po ang inyong paboritong tambayan tuwing umaga. Every 10 in the morning. Yan ha. Para ho makapagkwentuhan tayo at magbahagi na ng iba't ibang balita at impormasyon. Kumusta ho kayo? Welcome po dito sa ating CLTV 36 News Streaming. Hintayin lang ho natin yung go signal ng mga nasa Master Control Room. Ha? Si Michael Angelo. Ha? Mike, malinaw ba yung audio ko, Mike? Malinaw ba? Bago ho tayo magtuloy-tuloy at umarangkada sa ating pagbabalita. Kumusta ho kayo? Na-miss ho kayo ni Kuyang Justin. No? Isang linggo hong nawala ang inyong lingkod. Gawa ng siyempre. Taon-taon ho kasi kaming tayo ho sa CLTV ay nagpaplano kung ano nga ba yung mas maganda nating pwedeng maialok, maibigay sa ating mga followers. Siyempre, may masinsin ho yung pinag-iisipan, pinagpaplanuhan. At yun, nagplanning ho tayo, kasama siyempre yung ilan sa ating mga kasamahan sa CLTV 36. Ayan, at siyempre, asahan po ninyo, abangan ninyo yung mga handog namin sa inyo ngayong 2025. Exciting itong taon na to, lalong-lalo na ho. Alam naman natin, importanteng malaman natin ang nangyayari sa ating paligid, especially election year 2025. And of course, aside from election update, o yung mga election news, siyempre, tuloy-tuloy din ang ating magiging paghatid sa inyo. Oo, mga kabalen, nitong iba't iba pang content na talagang exciting, what's in. Ika nga, anong nangyayari sa ating paligid at ano yung mga kaaya-aya naman na dapat ating pag-usapan. Let's talk about also yung beautiful things in life, ika nga, na ano ba yung mga pinagmamalaki na ating pwedeng pasyalan, pwedeng puntahan. Ano yung mga hot na usapan, hot na tambayan at mga nauusong ika nga aktibidad here in our province, here in Pampanga and the rest of Central Luzon. Yan ho, aabangan ninyo, syempre, sa darating o ngayong 2025. Kumusta ho yung ating mga viewers? Kumusta yung ating mga followers? Exciting ho itong taon na to. From CLTV 36, sasaan ho ninyo yung mga promise. Yung Kuya Justin, pag nag-promise yan, Tsaka syempre ho, itong ika nga yung ating natawag dito, yung ating mission to promote our region and of course to contribute dun sa countryside development na siya naman pong ika nga talagang mantra at krusada ng ating founder, the late Mr. Levy P. Laos. Ayan po mga kabalen. Yan, isang minuto na lamang at official lang magsisimula ang ating programa. Tumutok lamang dito sa CLTV 36 News Stream. I-share itong ating live streaming. Tambay lang ho kayo dito sa ating online tambayan CLTV 36 News Stream. Drop by lang, makibalita lang, kwentuhan lang. Ito ho mga kabalen. At tayo po, ayan. Again, welcome po sa CLTV 36 News Stream. At ito, we're back. Gaya nga ho ng aking nabanggit sa aking caption. Ako po ang inyong lingkod, news streamer Justin Dizon. Napapanood ho tayo live, hindi lamang sa Facebook ng CLTV 36 and CLTV 36 News, kundi mga kabalen, ay mapapanood din ito live na live at malinaw na malinaw sa digital TV ng CLTV 36 ano. At kung ikaw ay hindi pa nakakapag-scan ng iyong TV box, ay kunin mo yung remote or tandaan mo yung aking sasabihin ngayon pong umaga, January 13, araw ho ng Lunes. Ayan, doon sa remote mo, somewhere there, ano, sa may gawing itaas yan eh. Akin, nakunin ko na yung remote ko. Ito, sa may itaas, no, sa may left side, mayroon ka makitang scan. So, pindutin ho yung scan at pindutin yung auto scan ano, para automatic lalabas yung CLTV 36. Lalong-lalo na ho kung ikaw ay nasa, kumbaga kung yung antena ay nasa maayos na lugar. Ayan, kaya kailangan napaka-importante ho mga kabalin na ilagay ninyo yung inyong antena doon sa, when we say maayos, wala pong nakaharang, huwag nyong ilalagay sa ilalim ng lamesa, pintuan tuloy. Oo, huwag nyo lalagay sa ilalim ng lamesa o di kaya naman doon sa mga lugar na maraming nakaharang kasi siyempre mabablock yung signal. Lalagay po kayong kisame, tangka na kung makakaya, makamagnet ya kasi na makapakat siya king kisame o itang alulod, huling bakal ya papakat ya. So, hindi naman kailangan talagang sa bubong, ano, pero kung mahina, kailangan itaas mo na yan. Ilagay mo sa bubong kung walang makuhang signal. Ayan. At sige po, tuloy-tuloy ang ating balitaan. Kumusta ho kayo? Na-miss ho kayo ni Kuyang Justin. Ito nga, ano, napakalamig ho ng ating panahon ngayon. Usong-uso ang lagnat at sipon. Kaya naman, sa mga nanonood, sa ating mga followers, inom tayo maraming tubig, oo. Kasi, ako nga, di ba sabi ko nga sa iyo, Giant Lantern Festival pa lang, doon December 14. Isang buwan na. Mag-iisang buwan na bukas, ha? Nung na-misplace ko yung boses ko. At bubalik naman na. Nakabalik na eh. In fact, nakapag-host pa nga ako ng bingo. Noong araw ng Pasko kasama yung aking mga kamag-anak, ano? At bumalik naman na yung aking boses. At bumalik na ulit ngayon, ano? Pero yun nga, gawa nga itong panahon, mga kabalin, ha? Parang it's the flu season. Malamig ho ang panahon. Kaya naman, and mga kabalin, yakin lang natin na tayo po ay meron tayong sapat na inuming tubig, sapat na fluid sa ating katawan, ano, inom ho ng maraming tubig at syempre yung vitamins kung kakayanin naman bakit hindi, ano, mag-vitamin C. Si Ma'am SPS, yung paalala niya sa akin, mag-vitamin C ka. What to do? Kasi nga pa. Ayan, naubo na, excuse lang Ewan ko ba, parang mula nung tamaan ako ng COVID, ano. Anyway, sige ho mga kabalin, paalala lang yan, kailangan maging maingat ho tayo dahil maraming usong sakit ngayon, lalong-lalo na ho itong flu, ano. Tiyaking alagaan ang ating sarili, lalo na ngayon pong malamig ang panahon. At mamaya silipin natin, diretso na natin. Ano ba yung magiging lagay ng panahon? Ano, narito po ang weather forecast mula po sa Pag-asa. Ngayon pong January 13, araw ho ng Lunes. Ito po yung forecast ng DOST Pag-asa.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat at live mula dito sa Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Center. Narito nang lagay na ating panahon ngayong araw nga ng Lunes, January 13, 2025. Sa ating latest satellite images, makikita natin wala tayong minomonitor na anumang low pressure area at maging bagyo sa loob at labas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. Base nga sa mga pinakahuling datos natin for this week, medyo maliit pa rin chance ang magkaroon tayo ng bagyo. Pero ang shear line o ito yung banggaan ng malamig na hanging amihan at maiinit na easterlies ay magdadala pa rin ng maulap na kalangitan na may mga pag-ulan partikular na makikita nitong mga kaulapan sa may bahagi ng Bicol Region, Eastern Visayas, sa Mimaropa at lalawigan ng Quezon. Mag-ingat sa mga potensyal na mga biglaang pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa sa mga nabanggit na lugar na naapektuhan ng shear line. Habang northeast monsoon o hanging amihan ay magdadala pa rin ng maulap na kalangitan na may mahinang pag-ulan partikular na sa bahagi ng Cagayan Valley Region, Cordillera, Aurora, gayon din sa bahagi ng Bulacan, nalalabing bahagi ng Calabarzon, yung Cavite, Laguna, Batangas at Rizal at sa Metro Manila. So inaasahan natin ngayong araw dito sa Kamaynilaan na malaki yung tsansa ng mga mahihinang pag-ulan at maulap na kalangitan. Samantala sa mga kababayan natin sa bahagi ng Mindanao, makikita nyo itong mga kaulapan na ito dulot ng easterlies at magdadala ito ng malaking tsansa ng mga pag-ulan sa bahagi naman ng Caraga region at sa may bahagi ng Davao region. Kaya iba yung pag-iingat sa mga kababayan natin sa mga potensyal ng flash floods at landslides. Sa nalabing bahagi naman ng Luzon, ng Visayas at ng Mindanao, asahan yung mga isolated rain showers and thunderstorms sa Visayas at Mindanao, habang mga isolated light rains naman sa Luzon. At dito nga sa Luzon, inaasahan natin ngayong araw ang malaking tsansa ng mga pag-ulan sa bahagi ng Bicol region, gayon din sa Mimaropa at lalawigan ng Quezon, dulot nga yan ng shear line, habang ang bahagi naman ng Cagayan Valley, Cordillera, Aurora, Bulacan, sa lalabing bahagi ng Calabarzon, yung Cavite, Laguna, Batangas at Rizal at itong Kamaynilaan ay inaasahan natin na magkakaroon ng maulap na kalangitan na may mahinang sa katamtamang mga pag-ulan, dulot ito ng hanging amihan. Samantala naman sa nalalabing bahagi ng Luzon ay inaasahan natin ang mga isolated light rains dulot din ng hanging amihan sa Ilocos region at nalalabing bahagi ng Central Luzon. Agwat ang temperature sa Lawag sa 22 to 30 degrees Celsius, at Tuguegarao 21 to 26 degrees Celsius. Patuloy ding bumababa ang temperatura sa Baguio, 14 to 23 degrees Celsius. 2 days ago po, nakapagtala tayo ng 13.8 degrees Celsius sa bahagi ng Baguio. Sa Metro Manila naman, 23 to 29 degrees Celsius. Sa Tagaytay, 21 to 29 degrees Celsius. Habang sa Legazpi, 24 to 28 degrees Celsius. Inaasahan pa rin natin na patuloy ang pagbaba ng temperatura natin sa mga susunod na araw, dulot ng hanging amihan. Dito naman sa Palawan, inaasahan din natin ang maulap na kalangitan na may mga kalat-kalat na mga pag-ulan, pagkidlat, pagkulog, dulot din yan ng shear line. Agwat ang temperatura sa Calayan Islands, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Sa Puerto Princesa naman, 26 to 30 degrees Celsius. Magiging maulan pa rin sa malaking bahagi ng Eastern Visayas, dulot ng shear line, habang sa labing bahagi ng Kabisayaan, mga isolated rain showers and thunderstorms yung mararanasan. Agwat ang temperatura sa Iloilo, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Sa Cebu, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Sa Tacloban, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Magiging maulap na may mga pag-ulan din sa bahagi ng Caraga at Davao region, dulot naman yan ng easterlies, habang ang nalalabing bahagi ng Mindanao, mga isolated rain showers and thunderstorms naman yung mararanasan. Yung agwat ng temperatura sa Cagayan de Oro, 24 to 31 degrees Celsius. Sa Zamboanga, 24 to 33 degrees Celsius. At sa Davao, 25 to 31 degrees Celsius. Muli, nagpapaalala ang Pag-asa na mag-ingat sa mga potensyal ng mga flash floods and landslide, lalong-lalo na dito sa may eastern section ng Visayas at ng Mindanao. Bukas nga, inaasahan pa rin natin ang tuloy-tuloy ng mga pag-ulan sa bahagi ng Bicol region at sa Quezon province, kaya mag-ingat again sa mga posibilidad ng landslides and flash floods, habang pagdating ng araw ng Miyerkules, magiging maulan pa rin sa bahagi ng Quezon province at posible namang mabawasan yung mga pag-ulan sa Bicol region pagdating ng araw ng Miyerkules hanggang Huwebes. Samantala naman, nakataas ang gale warning natin dahil nga umiiral pa rin itong hanging amihan, malalaking pag-alo ng karagatan ng mararanasan sa bahagi ng Batanes, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, gayon din sa Cagayan kasama ang Babuyan Islands, Isabela, Aurora, hilagang bahagi ng Quezon kasama yung silangang bahagi ng Polillo Islands. Gayon din nakataas ang gale warning sa Camarines Norte, hilagang bahagi ng Camarines Sur, hilagat silangang bahagi ng Catanduanes, silangang bahagi ng Albay, ng Sorsogon, gayon din ng bahagi ng Northern Samar at malaking bahagi ng Eastern Samar. Makikita nyo itong mga lugar na mayroong pumpula ay magiging maalon yung karagatan, kaya iwasan mo ng pumalaot yung mga maliliit na sakyang pandagat, lalong-lalo na yung mga maliliit na mga bangka sa bahaging ito ng ating kapuluan dahil magiging maalon yung karagatan, ito'y dulot ng hanging amihan. Samantala naman, ang araw natin ay sisikat, mamayang 6:25 na umaga at lulubog, ganap na 5:45 ng gabi. At sundan pa rin tayo sa ating iba't ibang mga social media platforms, sa X, sa Facebook at YouTube, sa ating website pag-asa.toc.gov.ph, kung saan naglalabas tayo ng mga rainfall advisories, heavy rainfall warning at mga thunderstorm information dito po sa mga nabanggit na websites at mga social media platforms. At live na nagbibigay update mula dito sa Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Center. Ako naman si Obet Badrina. Maghanda po tayo lagi para sa ligtas na Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po. Have a blessed week sa inyong lahat.
Yan ho mga kabalen, narinig ho natin ang weather update mula ho sa Weather Bureau Pag-asa. At sa oras hong ito, idiretso ko na ho live ongoing ho itong press conference ng Commission on Election kaugnay ho ng paghahanda sa nalalapit na 2025 midterm elections. Narito po ang press con ng COMELEC. Panoorin natin. Live po ito.
Kuhanin natin yung detalye sapagkat ang maganda ngayon kung ano yung meron sa operation center ng PNP, nakabato ka agad lahat. Sa operation center naman ng COMELEC, meron kaming ganung klaseng coordination. So minsan ina-advance nila sa amin ng information.
Sige mga kabalen, at medyo naglo-load itong streaming ng COMELEC.
Tapos later ibibigay sa amin yung detalye. Kahapon, yung mga binigay natin sa miyembro ng media, pati yung mugshot sa mga pictures ng mga hintayin mo na lang na lumabas yung application mo. Siyempre, sa bandang huli, ang titingnan lagi dyan, kapag ka ipoprosecute ka, at the time of your arrest, may exemption ka na ba? Eh kung at the time of the arrest, wala ka pa exemption later pa, o hindi ba ang krimen kung kailan ginawa at hindi naman kung kailan lumabas yung exemption? So, hindi po pinag-uusapan na good faith kayo. It will never be a defense in an election offense.
Chair, for the record lamang po, kung nahuli, kung civilian, iba yun. How about kung government official, meron siyang security details, halimbawa, wala namang certificate of authority, ano pong parusa na kakaharapin po nila?
Siyempre yung mismong security detail din, mananagot din sa amin. Kasi hindi naman sila basta-basta pwede magdala ng barel nang wala rin silang corresponding exemption. At yung mismo opisyal na nag-allow ng detail nang wala namang karampatang permiso rin mula sa aming Committee on Ban on Firearms, kung kay all fairness, yung mga nasa pamahalaan na humihingi ng exemption ay naghihintay bago sila i-pull out lahat for your information ang mga inassign ng mga security detail, lalong-lalo na po ng PSPG. Lahat po yan ay pina-pull out muna sa lahat ng mga assignments nila hanggat hindi binabalik ng COMELEC yung exemption. Uulitin natin, 2 security escorts lang ang ibinibigay at pwedeng mabigay ng COMELEC. Maliban na lang on a case-to-case basis. Depende do sa kind of threat na meron sa opisyal na binabanggit. At again, madami kasi nag-a-attempt humingi ng exemptions COMELEC. Private individuals ang kanila pong security assistance. Bawal po ang private individuals. Private army po ang dating noon. Dapat po either sa PSPG o kahit na anong law enforcement agency ang magpo-provide. Kung hindi man security agency na humingi ng exemption din sa Commission on Elections.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Mon Gualvez po sa TV5. Sir, other matters lang. May babalikan mamaya sa Banban. Pero yung withdrawal po ni Shavit Singson, paano ho ba yung process po ng withdrawal? So his name is hindi na ho maaalis sa ballot kasi parang printing na ho tayo. At saka paano lang ho yung yun, paano yung mangyayari ho sa kanya?
Una po, ang withdrawal ay pinapayagan hanggang araw ng eleksyon, hanggang katanghalian ng araw ng eleksyon, pwede mag-withdraw ang isang kandidato. Kaya nga lamang, nakaprint na ang pangalan sa balota and therefore hindi na namin ito matatanggal sa kasalukuyan. Pero dapat maging maliwanag sa lahat. Pag mag-withdraw ang isang kandidato, dapat personal siyang pupunta sa opisina kung saan na i-file ang kanyang certificate of candidacy. Hindi pa pwedeng by SPA. Ang pwede by SPA or may special power of attorney kapag ka magpapile ka ng candidacy. Pero pag withdrawal, dapat personal. Meron tayong informasyon na maaaring ang naturang personalidad ay pumunta ngayong umaga sa Law Department ng COMELEC upang i-file ang kanyang withdrawal. So pagka nagkaganon, masusunod kung ano yung patakaran natin. Doon naman po sa katanungan, paano mangyayari na imprenta na yung pangalan sa balota. So kung sakali may makuhang boto yung isang nag-withdraw na kandidato, ay mako-consider na stray ang lahat ng boto niya. Hindi po ito bibilangin. Pero again, doon po sa mga umaasang baka sakali magkaka-adjust pa yung mga numero o kaya naman nagwo-worry na baka biglang mag-adjust pa yung numero natin, ay hindi na po kami makakapag-adjust sapagkat nakapagsimula na po tayo ng pag-iimprenta ng balota. Kung magkakaganon po kasi ng adjustment, uulitin muli muna yung pag-iimprenta doon sa kauna-unahan. At this point, hindi na po magagawa. Bilang panghuli, gusto natin emphasize, kapag ka ang kandidato ay nag-withdraw, hindi namatay, hindi na disqualified, bawal po ang palitan. Yan po ang nakalagay sa ating pong patakaran. Only in case of death or disqualification can a person be substituted.
Sir, another matter ulit, yung may big gathering po ngayon sa Quirino Grandstand, at least alala ho sa mga kandidato, pag mga ganitong klaseng gathering?
Bagamat lagi natin inuulit, hindi pa sila kandidato, ang tawag sa kanila sa kasalukuyan ay aspirants dahil sila ay kandidato lamang sa February 11 sa national positions, yung senador at party list, at March 28 sa local positions. At sana po naman, lalo-lalo na po sa mga politiko at kandidato, sana maigalang natin ang isang highly religious event. Ito po isang pagsasama-sama para sa pananampalataya at pagkakaisa ng sambayanan. Tayo po ay sumusuporta sa adhikain po ng mga kapatid natin sa iglesia. Kaya nga po, sana yung mga ilang politiko, lalo't yung mga hindi naman imbitado o lalo't yung hindi naman po napasabihan na sila ay dapat makapunta doon, sana po yung naman itong samantala sapagkat hindi po magiging maganda ang tingin ng lahat sa mga umaabuso na ganyan. Huwag na lang tayo magpaka-epalitiko. Di ba yung mga epal na politiko? Ginalang po natin ang translasyon noong nakaraang araw eh. So sana igalang din natin ang mga ganitong klaseng pagsasama-sama. At ito po ay napakaganda para sa ating bayan, para sa pagkakaisa.
Ayan, good morning sir, Naomi Almohano from Balitang A to Z po. Regarding lang po ulit sa election period, bukod po sa gun ban and checkpoints, ano po yung mga inisyatibo or hakbang pa na gagawin ng COMELEC ngayong nagsimula na nga po yung election period sa bansa?
Siyempre po nilabas na namin yung mga lugar, yung categorization ng mga lugar, kung sila ay green, yellow, orange, or red. Ang purpose talaga nito, patuloy kong inuulit, na address yung categorization si COMELEC maaari sumiklab ang isang kaguluhan base sa kanilang isaysayan o base sa pinaka-recent na karahasan doon sa lugar. Pero hindi nangangahulugan po ito'y pananakot sa mga kababayan natin doon sa area na yan. Again, doon po sa mga nasa red category, hindi niyo po dapat ikatakutan, umikot, lumakad dyan sa inyong lugar sapagkat tahimik po ang lugar nyo. Maaari naman po, sumunod na buwan ay naging maayos ang inyong kalagayan, wala naman pong insidente ng karahasan, madami tayong pangyayari dati, from red nagiging green. Yung mga nasa green, sana mapanatili yung peaceful ang inyong lugar. Dahil madami rin pangyayari dati, green, bigla na lang naging red. So we will always update yung ating categorization. Yan po yung gagawin natin sa panahon na ito na election period. Habang atin din pong pinapaalala sa mga nasa pamahalaan, bawal po ang suspension, reassignment, transfer ng mga nasa pamahalaan nang walang kaakibat na permiso mula sa Commission on Elections. Madami na po kami dinesisyonan. Kinasuhan namin ng kasong kriminal yung mismong mga opisyal ng nasa pamahalaan na nag-transfer, nag-suspend, nag-detail o nag-reassign ng kanilang mga tauhan nang walang kaakibat na permiso mula sa Commission on Elections. So, yan po ay maliwanag at yan po ay mangyayari dito sa panahon ng election period. Dapat maunawaan ng lahat. Ang election period ay 150 days. 120 days bago mag-eleksyon, 30 araw pagkatapos ng eleksyon. Baka kasi akalain ng iba, porke tapos na halalan, tapos na rin ang gun ban. Hindi po ba? At ngayon, patuloy pa rin naman kaming tumatanggap ng mga application for gun ban exemption. Kulang-kulang 1,300 yung nagawaran namin na exemption. Patuloy pa rin kaming tumatanggap. Sana, kasakali nga yung iba. And dito rin sa 120 days na ito, ngayon darating na Enero at 18, nagko-conduct na kami ng mock elections pagkatapos nito. At the same time, ngayong darating na Pebrero, magsisimula na rin kami sa training ng ating mga electoral board. Yung mga miyembro ng electoral boards, ite-train na natin sa buong Pilipinas. Kasama na rin ang mga miyembro ng PNP na gagamitin namin as contingency electoral board members in the event na hindi makapaglilingkod yung mga regular na miyembro ng electoral board.
Hi, Sir Luisa po from PTV4. Sir, curious lang ako, yung sa gathering ngayon ng INC, Sir, may nanghingi ba ng exemption from gun ban doon? Paano po yung security? Paano kung may dalang barel doon sa lugar? Hindi naman po, kung hindi man from members ng INC, baka po merong mga planong manggulo. Ano po yung ginawa natin? May checkpoint din ba sa area na yun, Sir?
Medyo operational matter na po yan talaga. Nakadepende yan sa Philippine National Police. Ang sa amin naman, nung mag-grant ang COMELEC ng mga exemption, sa gun ban, hindi naman ito nakapatungkol sa isang aktibidad o isang pagsasama-sama katulad ng mangyayari ngayong araw na ito. Naniniwala naman tayo na magiging napakatahimik ito sapagkat this is again a religious activity which we, in the COMELEC, we fully support an exercise of the rights under the Constitution ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Sa atin lang, siyempre bago sana sumapit doon sa mga lugar kung saan naandyan yung mga tao ay magkakaroon pa rin. Hindi po porket may sumasama ng isang grupo ay mawawala yung mga checkpoints natin kung saan talaga sila nakalagay. Sapagkat yun po ay hindi dahil sa aktibidad lang na yun, kung hindi para sa buong pamayanan. And so again, pakiusap po muli ng COMELEC kung medyo naaabala yung mga kababayan natin sa mga checkpoint, konting pasensya lang po. Habaan na lang po ng konti ang pasensya para sa atin naman po lahat ito.
Sir, tanong ko na rin po kung sasagutin niyo, yung may questions kasi dun sa ballot phase regarding po dun sa kalaban ni Speaker Martin Romualdez na hindi po nasa balota. Ano po ba yung nangyari sa case na yun?
Sapagkat hindi po siya registered voter. Ang COMELEC ay may kapangyarihan to administratively a certificate of candidacy. Yung ay na-affirm ng Supreme Court sa kaso ng Halosos versus COMELEC. Kahit yung pinaka-latest case ng Duterte Youth versus COMELEC and Rowena Guanzon. Na ang COMELEC, pag ang pinag-uusapan ay yung circumstances sa filing ng candidacy, we can administratively cancel. Ang problema po, nagkaroon ng decision ng Election Registration Board ng Tacloban City. Yung po kasing nabanggit na isang kandidato ay lumipat mula Sampaloc, Manila, papuntang Tacloban City. At ito po'y na-question sa Election Registration Board kahit sa korte. Yung po'y ng korte. Tanong, kung may desisyon ba na final and executory ng isang tao ay hindi registered voter, kakailanganin pa bang may mag-file sa COMELEC ng petition to cancel candidacy? Sagot, sabi ng Supreme Court, hindi na. Because the COMELEC can
Yan ho mga kabalen, medyo naglalag itong streaming ng Commission on Elections, pero itutuloy ho natin yung tuloy-tuloy lang natin itong streaming. Oo, kanina okay naman at mahalagang malaman din ho natin itong mga ganitong impormasyon, ano. Pero ito, magpapaalam na ako sa telebisyon. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga tumutok sa CLTV 36 News Stream, sa ating digital TV, Free TV at syempre Signal Channel 115 nationwide ho yan. Magkita-kita ho tayo muli bukas, araw ho ng Martes, January 14, para ho sa pagbabahagi pa ng mga balita at impormasyon. Nasa telebisyon, pero sa Facebook, tuloy-tuloy ho tayo ang ating streaming, lalong-lalo na ho para dito matutukan natin itong live press conference. Maraming salamat sa mga nakasama namin sa TV. Ingat ho kayo. And itong mga nasa Facebook naman, share nyo lang, like nyo lang itong ating streaming. Salamat po.
Parang kulang yung required sa kanya para makatakbo siya sa area. Tama po.
Maaari pong yun ang naging findings ng ERB at saka ng Korte na walang sapat na panahon o kwalifikasyon para makalipat yung mismong taong yan bilang botante. Take note, sigurado naman nang lumipat yung tao doon sa lugar na yan ay hindi pa siya kandidato. Kasi ang last day ng filing ng application for transfer ay September 30. Ang filing ng candidacy is October 1 to 8. So ibig sabihin, nung lumipat siya, wala pa pinag-uusapan tatakbo. Kundi pinag-uusapan pa lang ay pagiging botante. At nalaman ng Election Registration Board ng City of Tacloban na hindi po siya kwalipikadong maging botante ng area. So ang ibig sabihin po, sa ba ngayon ay botante pa? Ang sagot, oo. Pero doon sa pinanggalingan niya. Kasi kapag ka-dinilay yung transfer mo, hindi pwedeng mawalan ka ng registration dahil yun ay isang karapatan na nasasalig ang batas. So again, technically, registered voter pa rin siya ng Sampaloc, Manila.
Sir, just for the record ulit, bakit po bawal yung transfer, yung suspension, saka yung reassignments pag election period po?
Una, nakalagay sa batas yun. Very clear yon sa ating batas na bawal ang transfer sa pamahalaan pagdating ng election period. Pangalawa, ang lohika, ang wisdom ng batas ay upang hindi na po politika ang mga nasa civil service. Lalong-lalo na, for example, kalimitan, yung isinususpend, halimbawa ng Sangguniang Bayan, Sangguniang Panlungsod, ay isang mayor, yung pala, kalabang pala ni Governor, o kalabang pala ng Sanggunian, isususpend. Yan po yung iniiwasan ng ating batas, na gagamitin ang kapangyarihan na mag-suspend o mag-impose ng disciplinary action sa isang nasa pamahalaan, lalo pa kung cover siya ng civil service laws and regulations. Pero inuulit natin, hindi kasama sa prohibisyon ang ating pong Office of the Ombudsman. Pag Office of the Ombudsman, pwede siyang mag-suspend, pwede siyang magtanggal nang hindi kinakailangan humingi ng permiso ng Commission on Elections.
Sir, saying na quote-unquote, mas mabilis kasi kidlat yung naging decision daw ng COMELEC against him to favor his political rivals. Would you care to react to this? Thank you.
Sana po wag kaming sisihin ng ilan o pagka mabilis ang aksyon. Pagka po kasi mabagal, sinisisi rin kami. Pagka mabilis, sinisisi pa rin. So talagang walang makalagyan po ang komisyon. Ngayon po, bakit hindi po nila kami masisi kapag walang nuisance petition na pending sa COMELEC kahit isa? Zero. National at local. Bakit namin minamadali yung lahat ng mga kaso na nasa COMELEC? Hindi po ba talagang yun naman ang hinihingi ng iba na sana bago man lang mag-eleksyon, ay lumabas sa mga kaso kaysa matapos na eleksyon, saka lang madidesisyonan na nagkakaroon tuloy ng problema kung sino ang dapat napoproklama at makakaupo kung sakaling ma-disqualify. So, yan po ay pag-perform ng COMELEC ng kanyang trabaho. Kung sa palagay po ng iba ay nagiging mabilis, yan naman po ay talagang dapat na ginagawa ng COMELEC, mabilis na kilos, mabilis na aksyon. Pag po naging mabagal, talagang dapat sisihin ng COMELEC kasi mabagal ang kilos po natin. Ngayon po, hindi niyo po napapansin, kahit nga po yung ginawa natin ngayong araw na ito, napakabilis. In just a matter of 5 minutes, na dapat sabi 5 hours ang gagawin natin na trusted build. So yan po dapat mabilis na kilos, wala po tayong compromise when it comes to the integrity of the results. Yun po ang talagang dapat. Total naman po, nagkaroon na kami ng decision, total naman po, tumaas na sa Korte Suprema, nag-file na ng kaso, so let the Supreme Court decides. Sa bandang huli, we will just abide by what the Supreme Court will say sa kanila pong kaso. It's a continuing process. Hindi po natatapos ang proseso sa COMELEC lang. At again, hindi naman po tapos pa yung kanilang remedyo, meron pa silang Korte Suprema.
Isa na lang po. Chair, dito po sa highly contested po na backup from concerned citizen lang, kung pwede daw niyo pong totally ban yung AIX 10 days before the election, pwede ba daw yung AKAP, lalo na pagka ganong panahon, period, eh, andyan yung vote buying, kumakapang na po yung mga vote buyers pagka malapit na po yung election. Pwede po daw bang, may power bang COMELEC to do such?
Bago ko ibigay ang mikropono kay Commissioner Maceda bilang tagapangulo ng ating Committee on Kontrabigay, ang una muna is gusto natin liwanagin. Namili po ang COMELEC sa dalawang bagay na pwedeng desisyonan. Absolute ban o papayagan pero may limitasyon. Hindi po talaga namin kaya ng aming pong konsyensya na ipagbawal ang ayuda at pamimigay ng tulong sa ating mahihirap na kababayan, lalong-lalo na po yung mga nasalanta at kasalukuyang naghihirap at kailangan makapag-aral, kailangan may pangkain sa araw-araw, at the same time, may panggasto sa araw-araw. Totoo, hindi naman po sa mga politiko yung pondong yan po ay pera ng bayan. And therefore, ang siguraduhin lang, maayos po ang pamimigay. Yan lang naman po intensyon ng COMELEC. Mas pinili po namin payagang mamigay, pero mag-i-impose tayo ng limitasyon. Ngayon, sinabi natin doon sa binigay natin exemption, ay absolutely walang politiko during the distribution. Madami nagtatanong, ano po ibig sabihin ng absolutely walang politiko o kandidato during the distribution? Huwag na lang po tayong magpa-style-style. Kasi madaming politiko, para din nagkakabit ng campaign materials, hindi rin sila nagkabit, pero pag bumukha nila, yung nakalagay dyan. COMELEC can always make presumption. The COMELEC can always say, ikaw naman ang nakikinabang dyan, ikaw ang susulatan namin. Di mag-explain ka, tanggalin mo yan within 3 days. Ganyan din po ang gagawin namin dito. Ibig sabihin, kahit pa naandyan lang kamag-anak mo sa distribution, o kaya naman naandyan yung staff mo, distribution, ikaw pa rin yun eh. Hindi ba? O kaya naman pagkalalaki ng mga tarpaulin during the distribution, parang ipinamumukha ng politiko o kandidato na sila ang kilan sa pag-distribute. Tandaan po ng mga kababayan natin, kahit wala sila makakapag-distribute ng DSWD. Hindi kailangan ng isang politiko o kandidato para mabigyan kayo ng tulong ng ating gobyerno. In-approve po yung budget na yan para sa inyo, and therefore exclusively kayo lang dapat ang nakikinabang dyan, hindi dapat pinapakinabangan ng iba. Ngayon po, yung AIX, bago kasi ka-approve ang budget ng pamahalaan for 2025, yung AIX na yan ay matagal ng proyekto ng ating pamahalaan, yung assistance. Matagal na yan. Kung kaya naman, kahit nung barangay and SK elections, pinagbawal natin ang AIX distribution 10 araw bago mag-eleksyon. Pinagbawal po natin yan. Ngayon, yung po kasing AKAP, nung kasing inapprove ng COMELEC, yung mismong prohibition, wala pang AKAP. Yan ay proposal pa lang sa national budget. At that time, hindi pa alam kung papayagan talaga ng Kongreso yung presensya ng AKAP at ng ehekutibo yung presensya ng AKAP. Ngayon pong na-approve na yung budget at naandyan yung AKAP, ay masidhi pong pinag-iisipan ng inyong COMELEC kung isasama rin sa prohibisyon ang AKAP doon sa 10 araw. Ang importante, tingnan po muna natin yung unang implementasyon. At ang importante rin, yung prohibisyon sa social services, public works, ay applicable lamang 45 days before the election. Hindi po siya applicable start ng election period. Kaya po sana wag tayong sisihin kapag ka nagdi-distribute ngayon ay may presensya ng politiko dahil hindi pa po applicable yung exemption na binigay natin na may kondisyon. Papasok pa lang po yan sa March 28 kung kailan magsisimula ang campaign period para sa local candidates. Kaya kung mamimigay pa, DSWD pa ang in charge ngayon. DSWD ang bahalang magsigurado na hindi naaabuso yung pamimigay na ito ng mga ayuda. Pero pagdating ng 45-day period, papasok ang committee, Commissioner Maceda, kung saan yan ang kontrabigay. Sisiguraduhin na hindi maaabuso, malalabag yung kondisyon natin. Bilang panghuli sa part ko, yung pina-approve sa atin ng DSWD ay 844 million pa lang ng AKAP. Kung hindi tayo nagkakamali, ang AKAP ay 26 billion. Hindi naman natin sinasabing yung 26 billion ay ipamamahagi sa 45-day period lang ng kampanya. Ang sinasabi natin, naniniwala tayo, may mga kasunod na request for exemption maliban sa 844 million. And therefore, tatandaan namin, with the power to grant comes the power to withdraw. So kung makikita namin na may paglabag at hindi naman sinusunod, bakit pa naman bibigyan namin ng dagdag na exemption? O bakit natin pananatilihin yung exemption? Nasisisi at masisisi ang COMELEC. Di aayusin na lang natin. It is now therefore incumbent upon the agency to properly and rightly implement this ayuda system. Yun po yung sinasabi natin. Nasa kanila yan. Siguraduhin nila. Sabi nga natin, sinadjust natin, sana mag-distribute, present ang local COMELEC namin para makita mismo ng local COMELEC namin kung nasusunod yung gabay at exemption at yung kondisyon na binigay at nilagay namin doon sa inaward namin na exemption sa ahensya. Commissioner Maceda.
Wait, dagdag pa ba ako doon? Except to say that elections are composed of so many moving parts. Pinag-uusapan natin kanina yung trusted build. There's an RMA, there's a printing. And in this corner of the world, we're waiting for the campaign period to start, no? And we're finalizing our policies for our vote buying efforts. But despite that, we have already acted immediately by saying even the AKAP program, meron na ho kaming position na hindi dapat mag-participate ang mga politiko, no? But when it comes to the actual items or matters which are being given out, sabi ho ni Chair, masidhi po namin pag-uusapan yan. All I can say at this point is that I hope my colleagues on the NBank will join me in being stricter, much stricter than we were in the 2023 BSKE. Thank you.
Wala na pong katanungan. Dalawang announcements lang po. Itutuloy po natin mamaya yung naipag-utos po ni Chair na duplication po ng USB drives para doon sa gagamitin pang-install. Ikalawa po, originally, 2 araw po sanang na-schedule natin today and tomorrow dahil natapos na nga po tayo. Wala na pong activity bukas kasunod nito. I-announce na lang po namin kung kailan po isasagawa yung trusted build for the OBCS, the tools, and the utilities. And lastly, kalagdagang informasyon po mula kay Director Esther tungkol dun sa hash values. Kaya nga po siya na-post kanina, pinakunan sa inyo, ipopost po sa website dahil lahat po tayo pwede natin makita yun sa ACM. Ang electoral boards, makikita po yun sa ACM. Ang mga tao sa canvassing boards, makikita po yun sa kanilang CCS. And lastly, mahaba po ang trabaho nila Director De Leon ng ating TEC. Dahil kung makita nyo, mula doon sa pag-transmit, pag-trusted build, pag-examine, pag-seal, at pag-load po nyon ay kasama rin po sila at magbabantay. Sabi nga po ng Director Esther, may random sampling pa po ang ating TEC. Hindi po, magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po.
To authorities without any compensation whatsoever. I think that if we are to ever require something like that, there should be compensation at the very least. But even so, if that is the case, where are we going to get the budget for it? I would rather have that budget be spent on infrastructure and healthcare and education rather than on buying properties in excess of 20 firearms, firearms owned by people who own more than 20 firearms. So I think this is unfair to those to Type 5 license owners. Another thing is that we would like to express our opposition as well to the requirement that we only limit firearms ownership to 50 rounds. This is also unfair to a lot of people who live in the provinces because they have to travel very far just to get 50 rounds. And you're going to go through those 50 rounds in a day, especially if nakatira ka, for example, sa Batanes. If you live in the faraway islands, you're gonna spend a lot of time and money just getting 50 rounds, and then you're gonna spend that very quickly, and you have to come back again and have to get the requisite paperwork for that, which is the PTTFA for each purchase of firearm, which is a big hassle to gun owners. Finally, for House Bill 11141 by Honorable Representative Dan Fernandez, we would like to express our full support to every part of this. This is very helpful to gun owners, and we have already submitted our 3 position papers on each House bill, and we will be more than happy to discuss this in detail in future hearings. So for that, I would like to thank you, Honorable Dan Fernandez, for this House bill. It's very helpful.
Okay, thank you so much,
So
Mr. Rico. You have submitted to us your position paper. Okay, so we'll be distributing that to the members of this committee, and especially to the members of the technical working group that will be created in a while. So, Mr. Paul Ong Tebes, ng Pistolerong Pinoy, you are recognized.
Magandang umaga po, Mr. Chair, Honorable Congressmen, mga panauhin at mga resource persons. Una, nagpapasalamat po kami sa pagkakataon na ibinigay niyo po sa amin na nasa gun community na mapakinggan po ang boses ng mga responsible gun owners. Ako po si Mr. Paul Tebes, mas kilala po sa online o social media, Pistolerong Pinoy. In behalf of the responsible gun owners or the gun community, nais po namin iparating sa kinauukulan ang mga sumusunod. Actually, marami po yung mga proposals na ito eh. Kung i-gather ko po yun, kulang po yung page ng aking ano. So ilan lang po ito sa mga proposals na gusto ko iparating ngayon. Yung iba kasi sinabit ko na po sa aking position paper. Ito lang po yung mga example po ng mga naisip parating ng gun community. Una po, yung validity po ng permit to carry firearm outside the residence o yung PTC FOR. Sa kasalukuyan po kasi nasa 2 taon lang po tayo, 2 years ano po. Ang gusto po namin o proposal po namin, gawin man lang po ito na 5 years. 5 years po, pero sana hindi po yung excess yung fee. Kasi ang nangyari po sa fee natin yung unang taon po, yung dati ang PTC FOR po ay 1 taon nasa 6,200. Nung ginawa pong 2 taon, na double the price po yun. So ang gusto po sana ng gun community, parang sa LTO license po, no, na-extend po siya ng 10 taon, pero yung fee, ganun pa rin po. Sana po mapagbigyan po kami. Number 2 po, yung streamlining po ng requirements para sa pagkuha po ng PTC FOR. Kasi sa pagkuha po ng PTC FOR, kailangan pa po natin ng threat assessment. At sa threat assessment po kasi selective lang po yung mga exempted sa threat assessment sa pagkuha ng PTC FOR. Sa tingin po ng gun community, lahat naman po tayo ay may threat. Hindi lang po sa bahay. Paglabas po natin, hindi po natin alam kung ano po yung pwede mangyari sa atin. Pwede po tayong maging biktima ng crime o mga, alam niyo na po, mga masasamang loob. Sana po, prayers po namin, tanggalin na lang po sana yung threat assessment. And ito, last na po ito. Yung issuance po ng permit to transport ng 5.56 rifles o 7.62. Sa ngayon po kasi ang nai-issuehan lang ng permit to transport ay mga pistols, revolvers. Sana po mapagbigyan po tayo. Bakit po kailangan natin ng permit to transport ng mga rifles? Kasi po, para po makapag-practice po kami sa range. And hindi po natin masasabi, wag naman po sana mangyari, no? When pagka magkagulo po rito, kami pong mga legal gun owners ay pwede pong maging force multipliers. Kaya po, paano po kami magiging force multipliers kung yung mga rifles po namin ay nakatambay lang po sa bahay o nagiging paperweight lang po, nakadisplay lang po nasa gun cabinet. Sana po mga sir, bigyan po ninyo kaming ng pagkakataon na mailabas po namin ang aming mga rifles upang makapag-practice po kami. Wag po kayo mag-alala, kami pong mga responsible gun owners ay dumaan po sa mga requirements po ninyo, neuropsych, drug test. Sumunod po kami sa lahat ng mga requirements, patakaran po ng kinauukulan upang makakuha po kami ng LTAP. Sana po it's about time na pagkatiwalaan niyo naman po ang mga responsible gun owners. Huwag niyo po kami pagdudahan o hindi po kami yung kalaban. Sabi nga po nila Ma'am Gina, pare-pareho po tayong galit sa mga loose firearm. Sila po yung nagko-cause ng crime, hindi po kami.
Mr.
At
Chair.
kung meron man po na meron po man mga responsible gun owners na gumawa ng crime, I think it's about less than 0.1% lang po yun, ayon po sa statistics. Muli po, nagpapasalamat po kami, mga legal gun owners na sa gun community sa pagkakataon na binigay po niyo sa amin.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Congressman, are you done with your, are you done, ano?
Apo.
Sige, Congressman Busita, please.
Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang i-clarify kay Mr. Ong Tevez. Ano po ang basis ninyo para sabihin ninyo lahat tayo may threat?
Kung nababalitaan naman po natin sa mga balita, sa mga newspapers, sa mga TV, may mga naho-hold up po, yung mga ganun, nabibiktima po ng crime.
So, Mr. Chair, is Mr. Ong saying na even ordinary employee dito may threat? Ganun po ba? Gusto ko lang malinawan po. Kasi medyo nakakatakot yung nyo po para sa mga ordinary individuals na lahat pala may threat.
Yeah, what I'm saying is meron po tayong potential na maging victim po ng mga crime, mga street crimes po.
So insisting po kayo na lahat may threat? Lahat? Ibig sabihin pong lahat, 100% ng Pilipino may threat? Yun po ba ang gusto niyo sabihin, Mr. Tevez?
Pwede po yun. Opo.
Hindi po yung pwede. Ang gusto ko pong i-clarify sa'yo, pag sinabi po ninyong lahat, 100%, kahit yung mga bata na inosente.
Ay, hindi naman po. Hindi naman po.
So,
I stand corrected po, Your Honor.
Paki-correct po ninyo kasi hindi po tama yon na parang sobrang gulo na sa Pilipinas.
Ay, hindi naman po. Hindi po yung ibig kong sabihin, Your Honor.
Pwede po ba, Mr. Chen, na ma-strike out yung kanya statement
yes
na
po,
lahat
opo.
may threat?
Right, so there's a motion to strike out that
Thank you po,
that
Congressman
portion of your
Busita. Thank you po.
position.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Ako, please.
point of order. I think the resource person is willing to withdraw from his former statement. So there's no need for us to come up with a motion to strike out the statement.
Opo, opo. I stand corrected po. Sorry po.
Okay, so we'll be striking that out. The COMSEC is hereby directed to strike that portion of his statement. Are you satisfied, Congressman Busita? Please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kinorek ko lang, Mr. Chair, kasi
Opo.
yung ating pong mga kababayan, medyo naalarma pagka may mga information na hindi naman tama. Ang dami na nga fake news, dadagdagan pa natin. Maraming salamat po, Mr.
I
Chair.
agree with that. We have to be careful with our statement. No?
Sorry po, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, we understand. But especially now that yung social media ay bumikap ng mga statements that are being delivered on every committee on the House of Representatives. So let us be careful. All right. So we'll be proceeding to the next resource person, yung advocate for better gun rights, si Attorney Brian Go. Brian Go.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. You are
Representative.
recognized, please.
Thank you, the Honorable Chairperson. First of all, I would like to thank this Honorable Committee for inviting us all here and are gathered here today to take time out of their days to conduct a committee hearing. To reiterate some of the sentiments of the fellow resource persons, we would like to express support to the to the bill submitted by the honorable chairperson, and also I also would like to reiterate some of the reservations presented with House Bill 9718, specifically as mentioned by Attorney Rodriguez regarding the limitations of the number of the firearms, as well as the limitation on the amount of ammunition. I'm also a sport shooter with arms corps, and actually, if we were to limit the 50 rounds to an individual, that's usually just one long course of fire, so it's not really enough. I understand that I also was able to submit a position paper to this honorable committee, to which I attached my Juris Doctor thesis, which, with the help of the PNP, recognizing the presence of Police Lieutenant Colonel Tadeo, the Chief Legal Officer of the PNP, who aided me in that research and was most instrumental in submitting that. I've also attached that to my position paper for the consideration of this honorable committee, and I'm also honored to be able to discuss some of those matters tackled there regarding proposed amendments and whatever comments we may have at the most opportune time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be proceeding to the next resource person, Filipino Responsible Shooters Association Incorporated, headed by Raymond Alan O. Santos. You are now recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. House Bill number 9718, aralin po natin maigi, masyadong mabigat po yung penalties na ipinapataw po dito, at lubos po namin sinusuportahan ang House Bill number 1141. Lalong higit po yung pagpapalawig ng permit to transport sa aming mga sport shooters. Dagdagan po sana natin kahit ilang buwan, dahil pag outside the region, alam na po natin yon, may certain bilang ng araw, kapos na kapos po yung bilang nito, at from 50 rounds ay ang prayer po natin ay maging 500 lamang po, maging makatotohanan, pagkat kung 50 lamang po ang madadala namin, paano po kami makakapag-practice noon? So bilang sport shooters, maraming salamat Mr. Chair, at magsasubmit na lang po kami ng position paper namin. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, last. Okay, huli na po. Si Captain Norman Pabia ng 7th Marine Brigade Reserve. Andito ba siya? Okay, sir, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and to the members of the honorable members of this committee. We support the amendments to the current gun laws of the Philippines to make it relevant to the current times and situation of the country. But we also, although we support, we also would like to state our objection and some on some of the provisions of the proposed bills. We will just submit our position papers on this, and maybe we can add some inputs during the technical working group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so any other person or resource persons who have been invited to, who wanted to give their position paper? And reminding all those who have been invited na i-expedite po nyo yung pagpapadala ng inyong pong mga posisyon sa isyong ito. And now we will be proceeding.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Sergio Dagoc, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I forgot, mahirap kasi yung medyo may edad na, Mr. Chair, madaling makalimot. I would just like to 86. I would just like to request, Mr. Chair, si Mr. Topacio ba yung nagsabi na they need 1,500 rounds a day? So, for purposes of discussion in the technical working group, we would like to request Mr. Topacio to submit possession paper or undertaking that will confirm that really the shooters competing here or international competition needs 1,500 rounds a day.
Mr. Congressman, we're more than happy to get our shooters to sign an undertaking stating that they need 1,000 rounds a day.
Thank you.
All right. So, okay. Any other members who wanted to? Okay. Chairman Akop, now you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I know from the resource persons, the manufacturers, the shooters association, is owning a firearm a right or a privilege?
Anybody from the
Pinag-usapan kasi natin ngayong araw na ito, yung gusto niyo na magkaroon ng firearm, bawat Pilipino na gustong magkaroon ng firearm. Now, let's start sa general principle. Is owning a firearm a right or a privilege? May I ask from the private sector first?
Who want to answer the query of Congressman Akop? So, Ma'am Gina Angangco, you are recognized. Please answer the query of Congressman Akop, please.
Mr. Chair, Congressman Akop, it is a right of every citizen to protect themselves.
No, I'm not asking that
regardless
question.
of what
I'm asking
we use legally.
the question whether ownership of a gun is a right or a privilege.
Well, since we have
right
to defend
that is in
ourselves
the Constitution.
With whatever legal
Kindly answer my
unit,
question
then
directly,
we
yes or
believe
no?
it is a right.
Wait, ma'am. Please, when the members of this committee is speaking, don't interrupt.
I'm
Please
sorry,
wait
sir.
for
I will
the,
follow the protocol.
Yes, please wait for the members to finish first, and then you can reply. Go ahead, Congressman Akop, please.
Is ownership of a gun a right or a privilege?
Yes, Mr. Congressman, we believe
Yes. No
it
more.
is
Yeah.
a right.
It's okay. How about you,
If
Mr.
we're
Reyes?
qualified.
It's a right.
The open mic. Open mic, Mr. Reyes, please.
Very specific yung tanong ko, ownership of a gun.
Yes, it's
a right?
It's a right. Like,
Okay.
It's almost like owning a car. It's a right to own a
Okay.
car.
Kayo po, Madam.
Comelec. Attorney James or Attorney Bautista, you can reply to the query. Please answer.
In my opinion po, Your Honors, it is a privilege to own a firearm.
Thank you. Kayo po. Doon po sa mga shooters association.
Paki-turn up yung mic, to the associations of the, Mr. Attorney Gutierrez, you are raising your hand, please.
Attorney Rodriguez,
Attorney-
Your Honor. Anyway, technically and legally, it is a statutory right. A right granted by law.
Okay. You want to ask?
Kindly present to me a provision of law that makes it a statutory right, that ownership of a gun is a right.
Yes, Your Honor.
What provision of law?
RA 10591.
What provision of 10591 would it state that it is a right? Abogado po kayo, di po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
It's a statutory right, meaning it is granted by
It
law.
is provided for by law.
Yes.
Nagkaintindihan tayo. Abogado rin po ako eh.
Yes, I know.
Oh. Kaya nga, what provision of law? Kindly state that provision of law. Kasi sinasabi mo statutory right. I'm asking you, what law grants that statutory right?
We'll check on the provision, Your Honor, of the law, and I'll get back here.
Yes, hanapin mo lahat
Yes.
yan. Wala akong makita.
Yes, Your Honor.
Members of the PNP, you want to reply to the query of Congressman Akop, please? Simple lang naman tanong eh. Sige na po. You want to answer? Sige, go
Chair,
ahead. Please
Mr.
state
Chair,
your name.
Attorney Castillo from DND.
From DND?
From DND.
Go
The
ahead.
right to own firearms under the law is only a privilege, right, Mr. Chair? The rights that are mandated are those the right enshrined in our Constitution, but the right to own firearms is merely a privilege, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
PNP, please.
Sir, it is a privilege. We have a Supreme Court ruling to that effect, sir.
Asek Racho, please.
Mr. Chair, it is a privilege, sir.
All right. So, privilege.
About transnational crime.
Attorney Martin on top.
Your Honors, I would have to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. It is a privilege, Your Honor, and not a right.
Colonel Dilag, ano ang Supreme Court decision which says na ownership of a firearm is a privilege and not a right? Kasi binanggit mo na merong Supreme Court decision.
Yes, sir. The Chavez versus Romulo, sir.
I beg your pardon?
Chavez versus Romulo, sir.
When was that promulgated?
2009, sir.
2009. Okay. Would you agree with that, attorney, doon sa huli?
Yeah, Congressman, can I be allowed to speak? Attorney Lacambra, Your Honor.
Okay, you are recognized, Attorney
We need
Lacambra.
to distinguish between the two basic rights. Since it's now allowed by the law, it's
ano
now
po ang
considered
allowed by law?
for the RA
Let's be clear about
10591,
it,
Your Honor.
kasi very specific yung tanong ko.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ownership of a gun.
It
is
is
it a
a-
right or privilege?
We need to distinguish, Your Honor. Since it's now allowed by law,
What do
it
you
is
need to
a
distinguish sa ownership of a gun?
it's now a statutory right, Your Honor.
Ownership
Because-
of a gun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano
Statutory
po ang
right.
provision?
The state policy of the RA 10591 itself states, Your Honor, granting the private citizen to the right to own a licensed firearm, Your Honor.
Would you
It's a
please read that
statutory
provision
right.
of law na specifies ownership of a gun?
Yes, Your Honor.
The right to own a gun or right to self-defense ang sinasabi.
My partner will answer it, Your Honor.
So we have the copy of Republic Act 10591. What particular section of Republic Act 10591 are you pertaining with? Kasi yun ang tanong ni Congressman Acop.
Yes,
eh.
Your Honor.
Sige, state it, please.
Article on registration and licensing.
Article what?
Section 8. Anong article? Article 3, Your Honor. Article 3 of RA 10591, Section 9. It says there, subject to the requirements set forth in this act and payment of required fees, a qualified individual may be issued the appropriate license under the following categories.
May be issued.
Yes.
May be issued.
Yes.
In other words, it is subject to regulations.
Well,
would you agree with me?
Yes, Your Honor. Of course. That's 10591. I think we are getting confused between
I'm
a
not
privilege.
confused, attorney.
No, the
I'm
confusion.
the one asking questions here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not confused.
Okay.
I would like to read also a decision of the Supreme Court
I'm familiar
entitled
with that, Your
Acosta versus Ochoa, date, GR number 2111559, October 15, 2019. The gist of that decision is that use of firearms is a privilege, not a right. There is no constitutional right to bear arms. Neither is the ownership or possession of a firearm a property right.
We agree, Your Honor.
Wala na tayong pagdebatihan kung nag-agree ka, attorney.
Hindi.
Di ba?
I think we have to
Ikaw naman gusto mo pa lumusot eh. Huwag kang
clarify the
lumusot.
privilege and statutory right. It's practically almost the same and synonymous.
Walang nagsasabi directly na statutory right to own a firearm. No. I would beg to disagree with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Alright.
Huwag ka na lumusot,
So,
attorney.
ang pinag-uusapan
Kasi
po,
bago ako pumunta rito, nag-research na ako. Kayo, hindi nyo pa nga siguro nababasa yung mga ito eh.
We are very familiar with that, Your Honor.
Come on, Attorney. Don't tell me that crap. Itong tanda kong ito, marami na ako nakasalamuhang kagaya mo. Nung palusot.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Now, there's another
go ahead,
question.
go ahead, Congressman Ako.
General principle, Mr. Chair, regarding this issue. Now, dito ngayon, pag-uusapan natin, which is more important, accessibility or safety? Matanong ko pa nga kayo, ano po ang mas importante? Kasi if I read the provisions of the bills, ginagawa, mas gusto natin na mas accessible ang firearms at saka ammunitions. Now, which is more paramount, accessibility to firearms or safety of the people?
Okay, resource persons who wanted to answer.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
DND, please answer.
Under the Constitution, Mr. Chair, under the General Welfare Clause, is the safety that's more paramount, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
What's your reply, please?
Under the General Welfare Clause of the Constitution, it is the safety which is more paramount than accessibility,
Yes,
Mr. Chair.
paramount consideration is the safety. Okay. PNP, again. PNP.
The population, that comes first.
Okay. Nika, you want to answer?
Just like with the position of the PNP, sir, safety.
So the ILG, same position?
Yes, sir. Safety of the people,
And also
sir.
the national crime?
Yes, Mr.
Same?
Chair. Same.
All right. The manufacturers and the dealers associations, you want to answer on the query of Congressman Ako? Please, the white, the one wearing a white polo, please answer back.
That's attorney. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. We actually agree with the sentiments of the government personnel that the safety of the public is something to keep into consideration. Although we would also like to submit that the accessibility and also the safety does not necessarily contradict each other, that there could be a picking of certain provisions which may be both beneficial to both the safety of the general welfare of the public as well as also making it accessible to some licensed individuals, because as we know, and as also pointed out by the Representative Akop, and correctly so, that the firearm of ownership of firearms, it is actually a privilege. We just have to distinguish that there is a difference between the property itself, which is a right to property, and being licensed to own, which is why we're here all today to request the kind indulgence of this committee, because we understand that the firearm ownership is regulated by laws, which is why we are here today. Having said that, we also submit that there is a possibility of promoting both accessibility and also the public safety, which is why we have to look into both jurisprudence, as also cited by the committee members here today, as well as relevant statistics, whether both local or international, to see trends, if there is any merit to promoting one sort of restriction over the other. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other resource persons who wanted to answer back? Mr. Rico? Mr. Rico?
Yes, thank you for recognizing this input, Honorable Fernandez. So for our feedback, and this comes from our experience of owning firearms for many years now. Of course, we all want safety, and our firearms laws here in the Philippines at present are actually doing a very good job at keeping the public safe. However, I believe that that there is somewhat of a false dichotomy here between having to choose between safety and accessibility, because the reality here is that we can have both. We can have both. We can have very safe firearms laws and at the same time improve the efficiency to help lawful gun owners. And the reason why this is important is because the more we restrict firearms ownership, the more loose firearms proliferate. It is very easy for criminals to acquire firearms illegally. And if we make it very difficult for people to own firearms, it will only mean that criminals will have a bigger disadvantage over us, and the more likely that firearms being sold in the black market will proliferate, because legal firearms are very difficult to acquire. So I think that we can accomplish both by working together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, mag-12 na, and we have another schedule. And probably if Chairman Akop is already done. You're not yet done. Sige, go ahead.
I might be a member of the technical working group. Gusto kong malaman na kung ano kaisipan nila eh.
All right.
Bago kuhan.
So you want to this other resource person to answer as well?
Sinasabi po nila, the right to own a firearm is associated with the right to self-defense. Ganon yung mga statement na naririnig ko po sa inyo eh. Di po ba? Would you agree with that?
Who wants to answer? From the...
Kayo gusto nyo magkaroon ng firearms for self-defense. Di po ba? Yun naman ang katotohanan eh. Bakit po di natin aminin? Sige nga. Eh bakit kayo tahimik ngayon?
Advocates. Attorney. Go ahead.
If I may, yes, Representative Akop, that is mentioned in Section 2 of 10591, sir.
If you read Section 2 of RA 10591, Declaration of State Policy, the state recognizes that the right to self-defense is provided as a justifying circumstance under the revised penal code. However, this right to self-defense, it is to be done through the use of firearms, is granted only to qualified, underscored, qualified citizens. And therefore, there's a need for regulation. Would you agree with that also?
Attorney, go ahead.
Yes, Representative Akop, yes, there's a need for regulation, which is why we are here today to propose what possible means of regulation may be, because even if it were a loosening or restricting, either or would still be regulation.
And assuming for the sake of argument that the right to possess firearms was considered a property right, it is doctrine also that property rights are always subject to the state police power. Would you agree with that also?
Yes, your representative.
And therefore, regulations have to be made.
Yes, as long as it is reasonable, Your Honor, and following the proper standards of the strict scrutiny test, intermediate scrutiny test, or rational basis, as the case may be, sir.
Now, this question would be addressed to the public and the private resource persons. Why should one have 20 firearms if the purpose is for self-protection or self-defense?
O, dito muna sa mga gun advocates. Dito muna tayo. Left side. Anybody can answer. Again.
Your Honor, while we understand that the license to own and possess a firearm is a privilege premised on one's inherent right to self-defense, it is also understandable that it being property, if a person is already licensed and qualified to own a firearm, they may own multiple firearms as they may wish, and as long as the regulatory agencies would see it and deem fit that they can own it. And by the current status of legislation, it would depend on the specific type of firearm if they are allowed to own 2, 5, 10, 15, or more, Your Honor.
Okay, sa side ng ating mga government agencies, you want to reply on that? O, sino? Sino po?
Yung police dapat sumagot eh.
DND and PNP siguro.
Bakit yung pinapayagan? Kasi, sa tingin ko, mas marami kayong earnings na nakukuha. Kasi mas maraming napapalisensya na firearms eh. I think that's the only logical reason that I can see. Why would an individual, single individual, need 20 firearms? If he's not a, shall we say, anong tawag na natin po doon, yung collector of firearms. Sige nga.
Geraldine,
justify.
Mr. Chair, we have gun owners or shooters who likes to compete in every category. Merong pistol, merong revolver, meron din pong rifle. But meron din pong shotgun. Pero meron din po talaga, sir, napansin kami na nangongolekta lang po ng mga various calibers ng firearm.
Under the law, meron kayong category ng mga firearms collector eh. Di ba? But you are not answering my question. What is the logic behind an individual owning 20 firearms if he is not a firearms collector?
In other words, bakit nyo pinapayagan? Kung hindi naman po sila, aside from being a guns collector, di ba? So, bakit natin pinapayagan?
Before,
Sige.
nung nasa serbisyo pa ako, one long and one short lang ang allowed eh. Would you agree with me also?
Yes, sir.
Yes. One long, one short lang allowed. Nabago na ng mga batas. Now, give me the logic why an individual person would be allowed to possess 15, 20 firearms. Bakit? And why would the person need 50 rounds of ammunition, more than 50 rounds of ammunition? Except for those firearm, shall we say, involved in sports.
Okay, Mr. Topacio, go ahead.
Mr. Congressman, I can cite an example on why a person would need more than 15 guns. So,
More than 20.
yes. So before, if we talk about 15 to 20 years ago, ang uso lang po is a 1911 and a rifle. But now with technology, if you notice, if you go to the gun show po, Mr. Chair, may I remind you, we're all for safety. When we put up gun shows, most of our seminars is about gun safety. We prioritize safety. Most shooters prioritize safety before they even shoot. That's the first thing you are taught. So with regards to a person owning 20 guns, it's different for every scenario. For example, I'm a sport shooter. If I get into a category, let's say for example, pistol caliber carbine, when I compete, I don't buy one gun. I buy two. So dalawa na kagad yun. I also buy, for every category that I compete with, I need two guns, especially if I'm serious, if I want to compete. Because pag nasira ang isa, I have no time to repair or replace. And another po, with regards naman po to self-defense, dati po lahat full-size pistol. Now we have a full-size, you have a subcompact, you have a compact, you have a micro pistol. So you have 4 different sizes already for pistols. And as time goes by, every now and then, a person would buy a new gun because masyado na malaking baril ko. I used to carry a full size, but as I am getting older, I would want something more compact. Dati, all steel ang baril ko. Now I want a polymer pistol. So that's one of the reasons why people have more than 15 or 20 guns. Because there are times that I have to buy 2 guns for competition, and at the same time, if I have a permit to carry, I have the option now because I bought a compact, a subcompact, or a micro pistol, or a full-size pistol. So that's probably, Your Honor, kung one of the reasons why people need 15 or 20 guns. They can be competing. There's new technology. There are even pistols right now that are foldable. I don't want to carry a pistol in my bag kasi sumasabit siya. So there's a foldable Glock pistol now that's available in the market. And there's a smaller revolver that's smaller than a micro pistol. So every person who are qualified to purchase a firearm, every person who has an LTOP has the option to buy these guns. And as long as they can pay, as long as they can register their firearms, as long as they comply with all the legal requirements that 10591 and the PNP set, as long as they are able to renew their firearms every time, there's nothing wrong with that. Kasi at the end of the day po, Mr. Chair, from our perspective po, we'd prefer po kasi na okay na marami ka, basta rinirehistro mo, basta rini-renew mo. As long as we have the data kung nasaan yung mga baril mo, we're fine with that. Kasi believe it or not, Mr. Chair, we are one of the most strict when it comes to issuing licenses.
Doon po tayo magdidebate na, Mr. Topacio. Yeah. And I will stand at the plenary to object to that if these bills will pass the committee level. I wouldn't agree na dapat kung po pwede magkaroon ka ng 20 na firearms. Gusto ko na bumalik sa dati.
That's why, Mr. Chair, if I may po, no, I during my statement kanina, it's important to take note that 10591 is primarily for the legal gun owners. Kasi if we assume that all legal gun owners with RA 10591, those who have more than 20 guns, kung i-assume natin na all those people are may masamang balak, even we could even ask the president to.
I'm not assuming anything. Don't put words into my mouth. I did not assume
That's why,
anything.
Mr. Your Honor, if I may po, that's why po I emphasize that we separate those legal gun owners who conform to RA 10591 and those illegal gun owners or illegal manufacturers, illegally possessed firearms, should be separate. Because what we want, why we support these amendments is because aside from the industry that it supports and the economic impact that it has, it also alleviates the problems that gun owners have been experiencing for the past how many years? Because this bill was passed 2014, and we have had IRRs that have overreached already, and that's why we're correcting it now, and that's why we support po yung amendments po.
Could you please give me an example where an IRR provision has overreached?
So a perfect example, Your Honor, in your law, RA 10591, I'll give you an example po na ngayon po. It's sort of an issue sa industry. We have a provision in RA 10591 that allows every gun owner to own 7.62 by 39 and below. As of now, only 223s are being licensed. 7.62s haven't been allowed for the longest time because there was a restriction set by the previous administration na bawal nga po ang mga calibers na to. But in your law, it is stipulated that it is allowed. But in your IRR, I think pinagbawalan na po siya. But I think, Your Honor, 223s pinapayagan na po ngayon, but the rest of the calibers until now hindi pa rin po.
PNP, would that be true?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
May know the basis of the PNP. Why you are not following the law?
The regulatory function of the PNP, sir.
Can a regulatory function or provision of the PNP rise over and above the law? Following your logic, it's a provision of law according to Mr. Topacio, and you agreed to it. Why are you not following the law?
But sir, going back to the provision on licensing firearm, that this may be licensed to qualified individual, sir. And at times, sir, yun nga po.
If Colonel Dilang, if it is expressly provided by law and your IRR doesn't say so, it says otherwise, I think that's ultra vires. And the good lawyers would agree with me. Di ba?
Yes, sir.
Bakit hindi nyo sundin yung batas? Are you trying to tell us that you are defying the intent of the framers of that law? Yung sinabi ni Mr. Topacio.
We'll look into it, sir.
Wala na, Mr. Chair. Marami pong salamat sa opportunity.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that's the reason why we wanted to have a technical working group. Medyo masyadong masalimotong istorya ang ating pinapasok. But of course, we have seen the different positions of the different government and private sector. And this representation believes that we need to create a technical working group on this purpose. So I need to have a
Mr. Chair.
motion.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Bosita, please.
Mr. Chair, after our lengthy discussions, no, parang isa lang nakita ko na the best na i-handle itong technical working group.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, may I move to create a technical working group for these measures?
So there is a motion to create a technical working group. Any second the motion?
Second, Mr.
Is
Chair.
duly seconded. So the motion is now approved. Second,
To be
who's
headed-
gonna head the technical working group?
To be
Yes, sir.
headed by Honorable Vice Chairman, Attorney General Representative Romeo Macosi
There's a
Aco.
motion, but we need to find out the availability of Chairman Acop if he will going to accept the chairmanship of the technical working group or not. So, Congressman Acop,
I
please
do not
reply.
know if the Honorable Bosita is mad at me. Simply because he's giving me more work.
And there's a lot of balancing that the good chairman have to do on this issue, no, on the three house bills that you're going to discuss. But I think it is imperative for the chairman of transportation to be a part, no, of this technical working group as a chairman. So I believe so that we need a man like Chairman Acop to head the technical working group. And naniniwala naman ako na magiging fair, no, si Chairman Acop. So there's a motion that Chairman Acop be the head of the technical working group that was created by this committee. Any second the motion?
Second, Mr. Chair.
This was duly seconded. Any objection? Hearing none, the said motion is now approved. All right. So the members of the technical working group will be Senator Bosita, you will be a member as well. Congressman Plato, Congressman Arrogancia, Congressman Dago will be a part of it as well. And also Congressman Tebes, who attended this hearing. And eventually, pag nagdi-discuss na po kayo, meron na kayong knowledge about it. So, no objection. So, the members that was mentioned by this chair will be a part of the technical working group. All right. So, since we have already created the technical working group, all those position papers that we were asking a while ago must be submitted to us in a week's time. So, sana po mapadala nyo na po agad, considering the importance of these bills. Okay, so other matters that the body wishes to discuss. Wala na po ba ibang bagay na i-discuss po tayo? So there being no other matter to discuss, do I hear the favorite motion? Motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for the suspension.
No, adjourn.
Adjournment.
So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second, Mr. Chair.
So there's a motion by Congressman Plato to adjourn this hearing. Any second
Second
motion?
motion.
Duly seconded. Okay, Congressman Arrogancia, please. May second the motion. Okay, kala ko nag-object ka eh. So, second the motion. So, no objection. This committee hearing is now adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Vice Chairman Ako.
may I move that we dispense with the calling of the roll. So move, Mr. Chair.
So there's a motion to dispense the calling of the roll, duly seconded. Any objection? Hearing none, the said motion is now approved. The next item of our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. The secretary has na-distribute mo ba yung mga... Okay, you have received all the minutes of the previous meeting for your consideration. Do I hear a motion to dispense the reading of the previous minutes and approve the same?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Chairman, Vice Chairman Ako.
may I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting and consider it as approved. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to
Second, Mr.
dispense with
Chair.
the reading of the minutes of the and to approve the same, duly seconded by Senator Bonifacio Bosita. Any objection? Hearing none, the said motion is now approved. The next item of our agenda is the acknowledgement of members, resource persons, and guests. The committee secretary is hereby directed to acknowledge all the resource persons who have been invited on today's hearing, and also the members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. The following members are present today: Deputy Majority Leader Jose Bong Teves Jr., Vice Chairperson Romeo M. Acop, Honorable Bonifacio Bosita, and Honorable Salvador Leito. Joining us are the following resource persons: from the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Assistant Secretary Wabili Racho, Assistant Secretary for Peace and Order. From the Department of National Defense, Attorney Angelito Castillo, Division Chief, and Attorney Jason Visitacion of the Government Arsenal. From the Commission on Elections, Attorney Nicole K. James of the Office of Commissioner Amy Ferolino, and Attorney Yvette Bautista Menjoro. From the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, Director Ferlu Silvio of the Directorate for Counterintelligence, and Attorney Albi Juarez. From the Philippine National Police, Police Major General Leo Francisco of the Civil Security Group, Police Brigadier General Erickson Dilag of the Firearms and Explosives Office, and Police Brigadier General Marlu Roy Alzate of the Supervisory Office for Security and Investigation Agencies. From the Office of the Special Envoy on Transnational Crime, Attorney Martin Ontog, Chief for Legal and International Affairs, and Attorney Glopier Angeli Calao, Assistant for Legal and International Affairs. From the Arms Corporation of the Philippines, or Arms Corps, Ms. Cristina Tuason, and Ms. Gina Marie Angangco of the Firearms and Ammunition Manufacturers Association of the Philippines. From the Association of Firearms and Ammunition Dealers and the Philippine Practical Shooting Association, Mr. Alaric Topacio. From Metro Arms Corporation, Attorney Hector Rodriguez and Attorney Modesto Lacambra. From the Philippine Shooters and Match Officers Confederation, Mr. Efren Reyes, Vice President. We also have Captain Norm